Hey everybody, it's Professor Norman, and I wanted to give a little addendum video recording to my other notes on the argumentation stuff about proposals, thesis statements, counter-arguments, and all that jazz, and just focus in a little bit more on the proposal aspect, because I've realized that, for whatever reason, whether it's me not communicating it effectively or just something not quite clicking, maybe it's not taking enough time on it or something like that, the proposal part, just needs a little bit more attention. And so I thought it would be helpful to just have this quick little subsequent video to do that. So starting off with the types of proposals, this should be a familiar looking slide. We've got the three different things I mentioned: technology, education, and money. I wanted to introduce one more that I think I'm going to include in subsequent semesters that for whatever reason I just didn't really have in there, but I think would be really beneficial for people to consider it for their problems and then the proposal possibilities. So the last one that I want to mention that I've not mentioned before is the idea of just, implementing some sort of new rule or some sort of new incentive program. Right? This is a really powerful thing to consider because we know that in general, people will not do things that they don't have to do. They might read all the great research in the world, including great stuff from your paper about how smart it would be to do this, or why it would be a good thing, or how this would help solve problems, or something like that. But unless they're really compelled to do it in some way, they're not going to. A really good example of this is seat belts. For the longest time, even though there was a billion different people in the world that would say, like, oh, you need to wear your seatbelt, it's much safer to wear your seatbelt, there's so many people, including people like my father, really smart, very well-educated people, who would just be kind of like, yeah, I know I should, but, I'm not going to. Now, that changed a couple of years ago when it became a more codified law that you could not drive without wearing a seatbelt. Right? It required a law, it required tickets, it required fines, it required police officers actually saying, hey, you've got to pay this, $25, $50 fine or whatever for you to say, okay, well, I guess I'm really going to wear my seatbelt now. But just kind of hearing all the stats and stuff like that didn't necessarily make people want to do that, right? They wanted to just kind of say, well, I know I should, but, it's just like anything else. It's just like texting while driving. Right? We know that we shouldn't do that, but a lot of people do. And it requires things like laws, which, again, those are becoming more and more prevalent and popular, to convince people, okay, well, I know it's not safe for me, but, oh, yeah, also I don't want to get pulled over and get a ticket for it. Now, it doesn't have to be all bad. You don't have to have a law or a rule or something that's really restrictive. It can also be a nice thing, right? It can be more like an incentive program. Do this, or increase the incentives for doing the good thing, and maybe that will compel more people to do it. Something like that might be appropriate, if there's a behavior that's, really positive and you think there'd be a lot of good benefits from it. But again, people just, might not respond super well to, having a restriction placed on it. We saw this a couple of years ago in New York City when they enacted the soda tax, right? That was a rule, a restriction to convince people not to drink a lot of, really fattening, calorie-rich sodas. It didn't work. People kind of reacted or rebelled to it. They haven't really figured out the best way to get people to stop drinking so much soda. But that was a situation where, restrictions are not necessarily the best thing, but maybe incentives are. Make it cheaper to buy healthier drinks. Maybe make it a little bit more expensive to buy the less healthy drinks. I don't know. Right? These are the things you can play around with. I mention it because we want to make sure that all of our proposals in this problem-solving proposal essay, are really significant. So I've got some kind of like typical types of papers, not pulling from anybody's particular paper or idea or anything like that. These are just some sample proposals that I just kind of quickly wrote up that might be typical of some of the problems I've seen, where people just kind of mention for their argument section some general advice or rules or anything like that, but they're not really proposing anything. Right? Remember, writing a paper that just says, hey, if you, eat well and exercise a lot, you'll get healthy, and that'll be great because you'll avoid heart disease, right? That convinces your reader. That convinces me, perhaps. But it's not really proposing some sort of larger plan that's going to, benefit society in some way. So, just mentioning these different examples right here. To solve the problems of food waste, people should just conserve their food a little more and only buy what they need. To fight obesity, people should work out more and maintain a balanced diet. To sleep better, people should stay away from screens before bedtime, right? You've probably heard all of these rules. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing them, right? So it requires us to think kind of a little bit more dramatically, perhaps, what needs to be enacted to get people to actually do these things. So to solve the problems of food waste, people should just conserve their food a little bit more and buy what they need. That's a really good idea, but what can we do to actually kind of convince or incentivize people to do that? Is there something that could be changed about the way that grocery stores operate, the way that they sell things in like larger quantities, and that makes it cheaper, which might also promote more waste or something like that? Is there something that could be, kind of regulated, or something about the way that pricing works or distribution works? I don't know. I'm not mentioning these things because I've got the answers. I'm just kind of like thinking a little bit, and I encourage you guys to do the same. Same thing with obesity. People should work out more and maintain a balanced diet. Just telling people that isn't going to make them do that. They've been hearing that, I weighed 300 pounds when I was in high school. People told me that all the time. It didn't matter. It didn't make me do anything. The only thing that made me do it was when I started having chest pains when I was 21 years old. But that's besides the point. The more serious point is to think about, okay, what's a program that could be enacted? Could employers kind of incentivize their employees to get healthier with, kind of like benefit rewards or something like that? Is it something that the government should try to figure out how to, make healthier decisions more palatable? Should there be a requirement that there should be, more easily accessible workout spaces, right? You've got the YMCA, which is, not super expensive, but still, kind of cost prohibitive for some people, and it's just a hassle. There are a lot of possibilities. You just got to think about it a little bit. And then same thing with sleeping better. People should stay away from screens before bedtime. Yep, heard that. Yet I'm always in bed with my phone, and I'm reading an article and hoping it'll help me fall asleep. So I might be more inclined to do it if there was something, again, maybe some sort of app or piece of, different type of technology or something like that I could get like points for or something if I were to like switch it on, an hour before bedtime, and then I could redeem those points for like, Amazon gift cards or something like that. You see that kind of stuff online for, like watching videos and answering surveys and stuff like that. Maybe we could really incentivize people to do it for a healthy purpose. There's that kind of stuff out there also for, to a lesser extent, for, people doing healthy behaviors too. I've looked into those as well. So anyway, long story short, there are a lot of possibilities for these things. Really think outside the box. Don't just say the most basic advice, because that's not a proposal, right? People have heard that stuff before. What do we need to do to make them actually do it? That's your proposal. Proposal reminders, I've talked about this a little bit already, but proposals seek to answer the question, what should be done about this? Or how can this be fixed, right? If your proposal isn't doing that, if it's not really trying to take that step and fix the problem, it's not a proposal. And then proposals must be logical and sensible, but they must also be arguable, right? Your proposal is going to feel a little bit like you're stretching or you're taking a step out of faith, and that's okay, right? Be bold with this. Proposals should definitely take the next step. They cannot be the same old wisdom already said 100 times before. We already know all the information about how, drinking and driving is wrong, but it took stringent laws about drunk driving and harsh penalties to get people to stop doing it. Drunk driving was celebrated in the 80s and 90s. It was almost looked at fondly until we had stringent ad campaigns that told people how dangerous and devastating it was, until we had laws that punished people severely, and we changed the kind of view on that. When I say we, I didn't have anything to do with it, but society did, right? You have to think in those kinds of like real world terms. What do we do to actually affect change here? And it might take a long time, but what do we do? And then my last point here is that without a clear proposal, the counter-argument and the rebuttal for that matter, both of those things are impossible. So developing the proposal must be that top priority. If you don't have that, you don't have a problem-solving proposal paper. At best, you're just going to have another, maybe slightly more developed, kind of informative problem essay. So these are just a couple of reminders about the proposal that I really, really hope are helpful. As always, if you don't know, if it's not coming together, reach out. Come talk to me. Let's try and figure this thing out. A lot of times we can figure it out in a pretty short period of time. So that's all for now. Get in touch if there's anything I can do, and good luck developing these proposals, because they make a huge difference in this paper being successful or not.